Hi.
Hello. Welcome to
Film Critters.
Pros
S.
Sis. Get it?
Sis?
Yeah, sis.
Excuse?
I don't know how to go.
Yeah, today today is our girlboss special. Well, girlboss, gaslight, gatekeep,
Gas bomb,
and go to the theater.
germ warfare,
And germ warfare.
guillotine,
Gone Girl.
Gone Girl,
Boss.
This is our Gone Girl AU special.
There we go. Yeah.
Because that's what both these fucking movies feel like.
They're both Gone Girl fanfic in a way. Yeah, we got I Care a Lot from Netflix, our friends at Netflix, and
our good pals at Netflix teamed up once again with writer-director Jay Blakeson, who previously had brought us he wrote The Descent Part 2.
Oh, I was going to be like, huh?
Yeah, I know. Seeing that was a very big, oh, okay.
Well, I guess, we're also going to talk about Me You Madness later, which we probably actually have more to say about that one.
We absolutely have
Jay,
more to say about that one. But I Care a Lot is thematically appropriate, and so we are opening
and thus
with it.
We are obligated. Jay, what'd you think of the movie?
This is like, you ever watch a movie and then halfway through you're just like, does this bitch die? I'm not watching this if she doesn't die. And so that was me watching this movie. I basically stopped halfway through and looked up what happens on Wikipedia, because I was like, this is like an Always Sunny episode if nothing bad happened to them so far. So I need to make sure something bad happens to them, or I'm just not gonna finish watching it because it'll make me too mad.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And even then, spoiler, something bad happens. Even then, I think I watched the last half of it. Netflix added this feature where you could fast forward movies by at double. I think at 1.25 or double speed even. There's different ones. And when I saw that, I was like, that's the stupidest fucking thing in the world. Why would you put that on your movie streaming site? That's just this isn't. These aren't podcasts. These are movies. And then I watched this and I was like, oh right. Because Netflix knows what kind of movies they produce, which are the film versions of podcasts.
Absolutely.
So I ended up watching it at almost double speed, I think, because I just didn't want to. I was getting ready to do something. I think it was probably stream, or I was gonna have a call or something. And I was like, oh man, I want to make sure I finish this before that, because I'm not gonna want to finish this after that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of a wet fart. I kind of was similarly. Well, I mean, I don't know. I got through it. I was able to consume the movie. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's not very good, is it? It's kind of whatever.
Yeah.
I was going to have this moment here of kind of talking about there's kind of a story in the New Yorker that the movie seems to be largely based on, called How the Elderly Lose Their Rights. And I was gonna try to cite some passages from that article and talk a little bit about the elder care industry. But I've run out of free articles on the New Yorker because I'm not a subscriber, so egg on my face, I guess.
Oh, here's the trick you do to that. Take the article link, go to archive.is, and then tell it to archive it. And then usually what has happened is that somebody else has archived the article and you can just read that.
Holy shit.
And if somebody hasn't, then you can archive it and just read it that way. I do that all the time because I'm like, well, if you're going to do this, I'm not going to ever, I'm going to give you less views on your own article. Fuck you.
Yeah. I truly hate that shit.
Well, you get that working. I have something great I have a great article I can read from Out Magazine.
Yeah.
Netflix's I Care a Lot was almost a perfect lesbian movie.
Okay, yeah. That's we got to talk about that, but keep going.
For the first hour and 50 minutes, I was in love. I was having fun in a way I would have never had while watching a film with a queer. I almost never had while watching a film with a queer protagonist. Then the last 90 seconds came, and in an undignified and blunt manner, the angry son of one of her wards approaches Grayson and shoots her in the chest. As she bled out in her fiance's arms, I couldn't help but ask, why? Why couldn't Marla Grayson win? Why do countless terrible characters, usually straight and or male, get to continue their stories relatively unpunished, while a lesbian committing similar crimes is murdered and taught a lesson? By the way, just to back you up here, the similar crimes, the crime that they're specifically going around here is elder abuse.
Yeah.
Not scamming, not like business corruption, not drug dealing, not being a normal, air quotes, normalized capitalist in a movie. It's literally it's literally elder abuse, mostly of women. And the reason she dies is because in this specific case, the person's mother died alone in a nursing room without seeing her son for several years because of our main character.
Yeah, I mean, people are always gonna write those fucking articles if there's a hint of like otherness or queerness or anything like that.
Wait, hold on. Even better. Why does the Joker survive at the end of his movie and Marla Grayson doesn't?
Dude, like, it's not that fucking deep. I mean, like there's a lot of examples of
Fucking
people who are like
Howie in Uncut Gems doesn't live.
Yeah, Howie in Uncut Gems doesn't live.
There's literally so many movies where these characters don't live. Like, what are you fucking talking about? Or if they do live, it's usually like not a happy ending for them. Like, yeah, why does Joker get to live? Well, one, because he's a massive intellectual property and it's an origin story. And origins usually mean that they don't end.
Yeah.
And
you know,
two,
typically
he's in an asylum. Like, Eddie becomes like a criminal mastermind. Like, hello?
Yeah, it's I mean, like, that's just absolute bottom of the barrel shit for sure. Yeah, I don't know. So like the aspect of this movie, the lesbian aspect of this movie, this was absolutely like one of those movies where you like forget that they're gay.
Yeah.
Which I frequently did. I think that they ostensibly had absolutely no chemistry up until like pretty much exclusively like all of their chemistry was in these scenes of like, you know, them like escaping from the mob and like all this shit. Like that shit was like kind of cute, but outside of that, it was like they were like Buttigieg gays. I kind of got the feeling.
I think that's the thing that's like particularly makes me feel insane about like having seen that like on the Wikipedia page and reading it was that I was like, what queer energy are you excited about watching these guys? I straight up didn't realize that they were supposed to be lesbians until they made out. Which happens like very like pretty far into the film because there's just no chemistry. They're poorly written lesbians. They don't act like they like each other. They act like they're like business partners and not in a sexy way. They just act like they're business partners.
Right, yeah. So kind of skimming the article, it seems like so the movie kind of has all these scenes where or you know, basically what Rosamund Pike's character is doing is kind of ostensibly legally kidnapping elders from their homes to put them in assisted living facilities, and so she can sell all their belongings and make a bunch of money. And the New Yorker article is basically pretty much that word for word is like a thing that I guess happens in real life. So I think it's, you know, in one way I have to say that it's like cool that there's a movie that's kind of like talking about that as like a thing that exists in real life.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how much people are going to like kind of believe or like look into it or anything like that. That being said, like, well, I mean, that being said, it's just not a very good like movie is the thing, and it really like tries. There's like all these like really hyper stylized touches. There's use of montage and like, you know, all of this specific stylization. But it's, I don't know. It just kind of rambles. Rosamund Pike is just doing this like Gone Girl thing, which like the whole rest of the fucking movie is also doing. And it just feels like a retread. Like this is something that we bring up a lot, where like movies seem a little bit aggregated, where it's like, okay, what's hot right now? Gone Girl, lesbians, and elder abuse, I guess.
Scamming. Oh, what are scammers?
Scammers.
Oh, people love it. It feels like the thing I wanted to give the film credit, and to an extent I do, is that it feels like it's trying to be a critique of the girl boss media model. Mm-hmm. Because the main character is just so unlikable. Like, there are no redeeming traits to her. We are not given any sense that, like, you know, she acts like this because of some fucked up history. They kind of tease it with like a line where gangsters threaten to kill her mom, and she's like, I don't give a shit, kill her. But it doesn't come off like, you know, oh, this is a woman who was like maybe fucked over by like her mother or an older woman in her life. So she has like really damaged ideas of these kinds of things.
Yeah.
It just comes off like, oh, like she just comes off like a capitalist. Like she comes off like your bargain basement capitalist who views other people in terms of assets, which, you know, also is partially why her relationship with her girlfriend doesn't come off very realistic at all. And so in that way, it's like almost as is this like trying to like I compared it to Always Sunny earlier, where it's like it feels kind of almost like it's trying to do an Always Sunny thing of like, yeah, the character is awful, and so you're seeing like how the girl boss mentality taken to its like most extreme just leads to reinforcing the same kind of like evil exploitation that leads to like air quotes the necessity for girl bosses.
Yeah.
But I brought up Uncut Gems earlier. Uncut Gems does that same kind of thing, like specifically for like you know, like specific kinds of guys. Like that's basically like the whole Safdie brothers bit, is that it's basically about how like dudes who are at the bottom of the hierarchy get buy into the capitalist myth and end up like dying or fucking over their lives because of it.
Yeah.
And the problem with that is that this movie isn't well constructed enough to do that, and kind of seems afraid to give our character any semblance of a personality that might be taken as like bad, other than what she does in the film, which is like objectively evil.
Absolutely.
So all you're left with is her actions, which are objectively evil, and it being presented as really cool, which is annoying. And then she gets her comeuppance, but you're like, I knew she was going to get shot by that dude at the start of the film. By the way, weird choice to have that guy as the figure of like avenging, like, you know, like revenge against that kind of thing. And to put him in a red trucker hat. I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
kind of interesting. I'm a little troubled by that.
Like, I think it was an attempt to be like, like, you know, we want to imply that like this guy sucks. Like he's like a MAGA guy. But then it's like, yeah but he's like, right.
He's like, you like shouldn't have done that thing that you were doing though.
Yeah,
is like the thing.
She is evil, and he should have shot her.
Yeah, he was right to do it. It's her character is just so one-dimensional. She doesn't really have any worldly connections other than the girlfriend who is not convincingly her girlfriend. really kind of whatever. Peter Dinklage also has like a really hard job here because he's like, he has this kind of like, it's just this mob boss that's like not really very special, doesn't do anything cool. Like I was, it did kind of a thing where it was like introducing him and like I anticipated some sort of establishment, something cool that he would do, or like fucked up mob boss thing. And it was all just really like fucking boilerplate and whatever. And he like really like chews on his lines and he tries to overperform them because he has like nothing. He's like chewing on bone with the script.
Yeah.
That's rough.
I think the weirdest thing about his character too is that like it's obviously trying to create this like girl bosses in crime, like, we aren't so different. Like why is Peter Dinklage like lay epic, but I am lay bitch. But then it's like doesn't really seem actually interested in answering the question of like why crime bosses are lay epic, because it's like what does he do? Like it's
so literally
like what crimes does he commit?
Okay, good. I'm glad that you brought that up because he actually, there's like a kind of, it's more of a throwaway line than it should be. He says that he does a lot of stuff, but he's mostly a human trafficker, which they are kind of, which is like a really pointed thing for the filmmaker to do, is to just be like, these two basically are the same. They have the same job, blah. And then at the end, it kind of culminates into this like thing where they're like trying to start like a company together, and she becomes like CEO, and it's this like weird sort of like crime ring thing as well. I don't know. I feel like that kind of plot thing could have been done really funny. Like on paper that sounds like a winning premise, and it sounds really funny. But it's just, I don't know. It's just these really kind of plotting like just, I don't know, straightforward dialogue scenes that just kind of come one after the other, and it's really, really boring.
It makes the problem of if it's trying to be a critique of girl boss films, it ends up fundamentally reconstituting the biggest problem with girl boss films, which is that they are like too didactic. They are too like, this is the point of the movie. I am explaining the thesis of the film, so that way you don't misunderstand it. Because if you misunderstood the thesis of my film, that would mean that I am a bad movie and I could be held responsible for your misunderstanding. And it's like, that's not how art works. Shut up.
Yeah.
Make your stupid little movie and go.
It's way more like clumsy, like sledgehammer, like, do you get it? Like style writing than even Gone Girl.
If you just want to like, if you don't want to risk making a piece of art that could be misinterpreted, just fucking do a TED Talk. Like, don't fucking dick me around with this shit.
Yeah, just make a fucking podcast or something. Fuck you, whatever.
Write an essay.
Do a video essay, essay.
There's so many other forms that are specifically set aside for like making an argument that can't be fundamentally misunderstood.
Write in a New Yorker article.
Yeah. Stupid. So annoying. I think it's frustrating because it's like there are concepts and raw parts of this film that could have made such a great film. I think Rosamund Pike being like a fundamentally evil basically elder abuse for profit businesswoman who accidentally kidnaps a mob boss's mom, who runs a human trafficking organization, and then they're like going toe to tat, which by the way, weird that they just killed her doctor, but like apparently had a lot of trouble just killing these two. All of that, like, you could pull that off and make it engaging and make the audience root for somebody who sucks, but you have to make it like, you got to give me like Sweet D to bring it back to Always Sunny. Like, you have to give it someone where I could be like, oh, this person fucking sucks, but they have like something to their character where like I am enjoying watching what happens, like what they do, but also if and when it inevitably like the toll has come for them and collected for them, I'm like, well, you deserve that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, she's not rendered really like funny or interesting or entertaining or anything like that either. It's just kind of
She's not even rendered
it's just kind of, I don't
particularly clever. Like
Yeah.
she's clever by plot contrivance, but like she's never shown like being clever.
Sure, yeah.
She's shown being like a regular rich person, which has too much money to ever face consequences for your behavior unless somebody fucking shoots you outside a courthouse.
Yeah, absolutely. It's exactly that. It's just like she's already rich and then she becomes more rich, and that's just such a beautiful and interesting character arc. I mean, like,
I'm sorry, I just
rich
keep coming
people-
back to this fucking article. You know who else traffics and abuses women while being a girl boss bisexual? Ghislaine
who else?
Maxwell. Fucking fuck you.
Yeah, I'm not exactly. I mean, I don't know how many people are quite jumping at the bit to kind of, empathize with a character like that.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, it's also, I mean, like, if we want to really kind of tear apart the sort of motivations, I like, there's definitely like a sense of this sort of kind of liberal baiting of, because human trafficking is always a fucking thing that people use to kind of galvanize these insane reactions that kind of lead you down a dark road of conspiracy and insanity. And so to kind of like thumb your nose at that and to like to turn it into this like red versus blue sort of like, I don't know, kind of tribal thing, where there's like, or rather, what I should say is like, you're kind of playing a dangerous game. You're like bullfighting essentially, where it's just like, we're gonna keep making movies like, that make conspiracy people so mad. Those people definitely don't own guns and definitely aren't like planning anything about society or anything like that.
We're gonna keep winding them up and treating it like every piece of media is the Daily Show now.
Yeah.
Oh,
talk down to them as much as possible.
Oh, we made things real fucked up and bad and crazy in the world. Well, you know what? It's time we step up and be responsible and just pedal to the fucking metal, make it worse.
Yeah, that seems to be what's going on. It's kind of interesting.
I feel like the film should have either been like eviler or funnier. And I would have been okay with
Yeah.
it. If it was funnier, I'd have probably found it annoying, but like whatever. You're taking these things that are kind of upsetting and you're playing dollhouse with them. But at least you're like aware that the only way you can make this kind of a movie with those figures is by like escalating them to the point of absurdity. But it's escalated to the point of absurdity and then played as if like this is like a fucking like this is the girl boss Goodfellas.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And it's like it's not the good boss. It's not the good ladies. Sorry.
The good gals.
The good gals. The girl boss Goodfellas is bound. Let's get one thing straight.
There you fucking go, bitch. There you go. Watch Bound.
Watch Bound.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, again, rich people shit, really boring. But speaking of rich people shit, so we checked out a movie, another film, a 2021 film.
Another 2021 film. They're actually both. I think I Care a Lot is also 20. So I Care a Lot. Here's a weird thing I've been having to learn about release dates. I Care a Lot is categorized as a 2020 film, but that's because it debuted at a film festival in 2020. It technically was released in 2021 because it was put up on Netflix in February. It's just one of those weird things where it's like the release date is usually when it had its debut, But there's
Yeah.
I usually don't count those when I'm considering like when a film was released, because like I consider when it was released to the point where your average person could see it and not like a person who goes to a film festival.
Yeah, 2020 for for the festival goers, and then for the peasants 2021.
Where Netflix apparently was like, we'll take it. I'll take it. And they put it out. Oh, wait,
yeah,
before we move on, you didn't mention the vape.
Oh, fuck!
I know for a fact you want to talk about that vape.
Okay, she has... I can't believe I forgot about the vape!
I can't believe you forgot Rosamund Pike's fucking vape.
I mean, like, that vape does not deserve to be in the movie because it's like the most interesting and like funny aspect of the movie. Yeah, Rosamund Pike's character, and I Care a Lot, has this enormous like lightsaber vape that is so comical. It's like comically large. She's like tooting on it in like every other scene, and it's the funniest image in the world because it's just like beautiful Rosamund Pike just like ripping fucking clouds, dude.
If you Google I Care a Lot, one of the autocompletes is vape, because there are so many photos of so many screenshots of like the same specific 3-second shot where she looks, her eyes get wide as she realizes, fuck, am I over in my head maybe? And then hits the vape.
That was the shot. Okay, yeah, that was the shot. Like, my roommate came and started watching and was looking at their phone, and I was like, oh yeah, by the way, she vapes in this movie. And they looked up and screamed because, yeah, that was the shot. It was just Rosamund getting this, like, long close-up toot of bubblegum number 9 or whatever the fuck. Just mwah, best shot in the movie. One perfect shot, really.
Speaking of, I while looking this up, I have now found r/vaping 101. Can anyone ID this vape from I Care a Lot?
Was it a custom job? That's what I actually... Okay, I'm looking up that fucking thread. I want to fucking know. Ooh, well, nunchuck. Let me see. I'm looking at it. Yes, I'm of legal age. Oh, yeah, I think that's...
There it is.
That might be it. It looks like
that's
it.
The vape.
Oh, wow.
There's also on that same thing, there's a second photo of like what is very clearly Rosamund Pike like on set hitting the vape. And it looks so funny.
It's actually like an out of character thing.
Yeah, like her hitting the vape out of character.
It was in her contract. Like, I gotta be vaping, and if I'm vaping in the shot, then it is what it is.
So another thing I learned while looking this up, because I wanted to find this photo, the most I am convinced Rosamund Pike made this up. She explained that there's actually backstory to the vape, which is that Marla had a vape business until she was Walmarted out by a great big discount vape store opening across the street, which she was furious about. I think that was her shot at the American Dream played fair. Straight up, if this was in the movie, it would have made the movie better.
Why wasn't it?
If she was a failed vape shop owner, the movie immediately at least 6 out of 10. At least a 6 or 7 out of 10.
Oh, absolutely. Rosamund Pike owning a vape shop, like that's
owning a vape shop and like snapping and becoming like basically having her I'm going to become the Joker moment because her vape business went under.
That just would have been a better movie. That just would have been a better
movie. That should have been the first act.
God damn it, Netflix. I don't care a lot for that movie. What would you rather have spent your Netflix dollars on?
Fucking Hulu subscription at this rate. What the fuck? Netflix, what the fuck? Are you giving me fucking anything?
Yeah, I would have rather spent my money on a fucking vape. It's gonna be my new thing. It's gonna be my new gimmick as a human being.
You're gonna get into
as
vaping.
A person. I'm gonna get really into vaping. You guys are gonna see me ripping fucking clouds everywhere I go. So get ready for that. Get ready for that shit. Fucking watched Me You Madness.
Yeah.
I would simply love to talk about it. It is a film director.
Oh, let us please talk about Me You Madness.
Please let us talk about this film. So yeah, the film Mew Madness, which was written and directed by Louise Linton, who is married to Steve Mnuchin, who was United States Secretary of the Treasury under Donald Trump.
And whose Secretary of the Treasury section on his Wikipedia has about 10 separate controversy tags.
Yay! We love
favorite one being 5.2.7 comments on Lego Batman movie.
That's love that for him.
Yeah.
that movie. Jesus Christ. Yeah, that movie. Drag that movie, Steve. Get them.
Oh no! See, it's actually even stupider than that. The controversy was that in an interview, he was basically explaining, because he's a film producer. He has film connections.
Yeah, he's a film guy.
Part of being Treasury is like, he's like, there's like conflicts of interest and ethical concerns. So like, I have to be really careful about what I say so that there's no conflict of interest. And then apparently like 15 minutes later, he was telling American parents that like, you should go and take your kids to go see Lego Batman, the Lego Batman movie, which he was the executive producer of.
Oh my God.
And then like in another interview when it came up was like, yeah, I shouldn't have done that. That's a conflict of interest.
Jesus fucking Christ.
So that's Mr. Linton. Former Secretary of State. Or
fucking
former Treasury of
unhinged
State.
4 years. Oh my God. Yeah, so talking a little bit about Louise Linton, formerly Louise Hay. Just kind of, checking the Wikipedia there. Basically her life seems like she's basically a nightmare human. Her family owns Melville Castle outside of Edinburgh, where she was born in the Murrayfield area.
Which, by the way, is a is a castle. She literally lived in a castle in Scotland.
She grew up in a fucking castle. Educated at St. George's School for Girls and Fettes College. And then Pepperdine University, and then like all of this other blah, 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 blah. Private coach from the London Academy of Music and Dramatic Art. And after boarding school, Louise spent part of her gap year as a volunteer in northern Zambia before attending university in the United States. Genuinely just like the worst kind of person that exists, that is out there in the world.
The most rich white. Just I have decided I will use my money to become famous for attention.
Yep. Yeah. And thus, Mew Madness, the female American Psycho. Which is funny because I would actually call it the female Decker. Because that is absolutely the vibe. Jay, what were your what are some standout thoughts? What did you think of Mew Madness?
Unironically, good movie. I did. Here's the thing though. When I say unironically good movie, what I mean is doesn't matter what Louise Linton intended. I don't care what Louise Linton intended. In fact, I hope she didn't intend to do what she did with this movie because that makes it even better. This film is art. Because this film is, I've been trying to describe it to people and I'm like, think of every bad movie vanity project you've ever seen. The Room, Birdemic, Troll 2, Manos, Hands of Fate. All these films are like part of their lore involves how they were like self-funded or how the person got all this money for it and stuff. But at the end of the day, the fact that they're made by like super amateur people is just like really apparent on the face of it. And so that usually intersects with like the fact that because they're kind of like, it's kind of a vanity project, there's usually like limits on that. This is a vanity project made by a rich woman has actual industry connections, and as such, it is just an unfiltered, unhinged vanity project. There's nothing that stops everything from happening in the film, and it's perfect.
Yeah.
Like this is like what would happen if people didn't get Tommy Wiseau in on the joke after they started giving him money.
Oh God, yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, like, kind of part of what you're saying, I kind of agree, just because like, the movie is like it's bad, and it's bad that it exists. However, I had the time of my life watching it, and the thing that it kind of comes to represent, or like it's this weird sort of like thing where the creators are kind of like arguing for their own destruction in a way, or like it's so kind of puts forward this like line of thought and these like attitudes and these themes and everything, where it's just like, oh yeah, okay, so like everyone involved in the creation of this is just not really human. They're just really weird, bizarre people who are horrible and rich and causing like untold pain in the world. And they don't know how to like, they don't know how to dance, for example. They don't know how to have fun. There's no reason for them to exist. I mean, that's really what I got from the art of the film.
I would compare it. I would say this is our Freddy Got Fingered.
Oh yeah, yeah.
This is Freddy Got Fingered for the 2020s, where it is a film that that takes the temperature of like the worst kind of filmmaking at the time, and then takes it to just such a level that it's like the genre doesn't need to be done anymore. This is the culmination of girlboss.
This is the zenith of girlboss.
This is the zenith of overly self-referential wink wink movies. This is the logical conclusion of all of these films.
Like, it's literally Decker. Like the around like the 90-second time she looks at the camera and just starts like saying some stupid shit, it's just like, oh, you're trying so hard to be cute, and like you're trying so hard to do like, oh, it was cool. This thing was cool when they did it in the other movie. And it's like the whole fucking movie is this like fourth wall breaking, like, we don't care about the movie we're making bullshit, which is very, very funny to me, and very very, very Decker.
The Decker comparison I think is especially helpful because because we were talking about this because I watched it with my roommates. We were talking about it after. Yeah. Where I was like, it felt almost like Tim and Eric style editing, like that specific editor, Doug Dogpound or whatever his name is, who does their editing for them. Yeah, yeah. Like it felt a lot like his kind of work. But my roommate was like, I think if it had that kind of editing, it would have like made the joke too obvious. But because it didn't, the fact that it keeps accidentally feeling like that editing is like makes it like that much more feverish, which makes it that much more funnier. The scene where he's just because like the scene where it's 20 something different takes of Ed Westwick pointing into a freezer and going, him? And then Louise Linton just saying like child trafficker, murderer, criminal, Republican, and then them pausing and just holding on Republican like that's the joke, and then it just starting over again and him going, him Democrat, him independent. It's like that is great, but if it was actually edited like a Tim and Eric bit, it would make the joke too obvious.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
It's the fact that the joke goes on for too long because she just kept thinking of things that she thought would be funny. And at no point did somebody go, we should reel it in a little. It loops right back around to being funny again.
Yeah. And like, the sort
or
of...
like, sorry, I just remembered. Or like the scene where she's listing off movies that have had guns in them. But like the list is an insane person list, and the second film she says is Taxi Driver, and then like 3 films later she goes, wait, was there a gun in Taxi Driver? And it's like, why did you name Taxi Driver then if you don't remember the gun in Taxi Driver?
That's some blonde writing right there.
Yeah, like it's such great, right? It's great writing because it's like there's no way to like write that kind of bimbo without just being a bimbo.
Yeah, you can't represent that type of stupidity through parody. It has to come from the source. Yeah, which is like it's funny because this almost feels like a sort of takedown of like the girl boss tropes and like the girl boss sort of genre, almost as like a kind of reaction to like the liberal sort of like snark and shittiness of movies like I Care a Lot. But it's doing this like really kind of stupid like third grader kind of thesis about like cancel culture and how like, oh, next people are just gonna start killing people they don't like, blah. But then it like kind of just like lets go of that thesis and or like it just doesn't really fucking care actually, because it's fucking completely incomprehensible most of the runtime.
It's I think it's because it is an American Psycho, but the kind of figure that she's satirizing is the kind of figure she wants to be.
Yeah.
So it's American Psycho, but if the movie was made by Patrick Bateman.
Yeah, Patrick Bateman was holding the camera. I mean, and to kind of put a finer point on it, like imagine not understanding American Psycho to this degree. You know, like it is literally all about privilege, and it is literally all about like the things that rich people are allowed to get away with because they are rich, and because they have other rich people covering their ass for them, and yada yada yada. So like the narrative here where there's this like fish out of water guy who is like kind of, you know, doing this like tete-a-tete, basically like I don't know. It's like not really. I mean, like this sounds stupid to say, but it's like not really saying anything, or doesn't even seem to be really trying to say anything. It's just like, oh, look at this stuff, man.
I think why it feels such an unreal film is because it's sort of like with I Care a Lot we were talking about, where it's like it falls too much into trying to be a didactic film. Media Madness feels like it's trying it's like it's thumbing its nose at the idea of a didactic film.
Yeah.
But like doesn't know how to make a film without doing that. So it's like both trying to say something, but it's also like, but we're going to mock everything we're saying because like those kinds of movies are dumb. But then it's like, the movie just goes like, I actually don't know where I was going with this. Like the film feels like it doesn't know where, like it was doing a bit of like somebody going like, this is what you sound like. And then they like launched really far into the bit. And then halfway through, they realized they forgot what the original bit was. And they were just like, and then they just like kind of kept going. Yeah. It feels like that scene in the opening of The Comedy when Tim Heidecker is trying to do a bit at his father's caretaker and the guy just isn't reacting. And so he just keeps going.
Oh my God.
That's this movie. That is this movie.
I gotta watch The Comedy again. The comedy feels like a kind of almost like this like pre-made response to this movie. I mean, like, I don't know. There's a lot of movies already out that could really function as an enemy to films like Me of Madness.
Another film I would actually compare it to, oddly enough, is because I just watched it recently. Johnny Mnemonic.
Yeah,
because of Johnny Mnemonic, the whole thing is that it was like a photographer who wanted to make like a independent film like $500,000 was his requested budget, but then the studio was like, no, wait, this property is going to be huge. So they gave him $3 million and forced him to use it. And he was just like, the movie looks like this because I don't know how to make a movie. And I especially don't know how to make a $3 million movie.
Yeah, that's insane. You can't do that to somebody.
And this film is like the inverse of that, where it's like, this movie didn't need as much money as it did, but it wanted that much money. And so it just spent it on like costumes and like covers of 80s pop songs, which play like every 5 minutes.
Yeah, they licensed like 2 songs that are like, oh, that's like where the budget went, I guess.
Yeah.
2 things. Yeah, I think it's really funny for the movie to be doing this kind of very, like, it's very South Park for the movie to have this like, yeah, we're saying a thing, but we're also too cool to say a thing, you know? So like we're not, but we are, but we're like not. And then yeah, like you said, just kind of losing the track eventually at some point in that line of thought. My other thing that I really wanted to kind of highlight here, cisgender women, please learn how to do your eyeliner. Makeup tutorials are free. They are free. You can watch one right now. It's on. Just scroll up, and you'll figure it out.
I want to be mean to her, but writing.
Why?
In lines,
Why, Jay?
Sorry, I really don't want to be this kind of mean to her, but
okay.
Writing in a line about how your age doesn't matter because you look so good that everybody can always tell that, like, nobody can tell how old you are anyway. And then like 2 or 3 scenes later, putting yourself in an outfit with the worst tan that immediately made you look 50 years old. Quite a move.
This is what happens when you don't know things and are a rich idiot.
The scene where she's like working out and it's just dubbed like an Etta and Eddie skit.
Oh God.
It's like that's what I mean, where it's like this is a film that like feels almost like it was edited by a Tim and Eric guy, but is just restrained enough where you're just like, no, these are just things where she was like, this is a good idea for my movie to have in it.
Yeah. I also feel like we're reaching this really interesting kind of critical mass moment that relating to like bisexual lighting, which is a really cutesy kind of stupid name, IMO, for lighting that's like blue and pink. Both of these movies were absolutely sick with it.
Yeah.
I think it's in most cases really lame and or rather like
it's the late 2010s early 2020s version of like the fucking like how everything looked yellow in 2006.
Yeah, for real. I just think it's like, well, I don't necessarily have a problem with it in theory, like pink and blue lights, I'm fine with that. But there's this like kind of sneering self-awareness that feels like it's happening now with that kind of thing, especially with it being like a meme and like all this other shit.
It was also all over multiple Oscar-nominated film, Promising Young Woman.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Also, although I did watch Lingua Franca last night, and that movie has a really good bisexual lighting, well, transgender lighting scene, actually.
Oh.
We're actually, oh, no. Okay, that's what we got to do. We have to reclaim it. That's transgender lighting. That is not bisexual lighting. Bisexuals, die.
Yeah.
Fuck you. We own the lighting. Miyu Madness. Yeah, I don't know. Is there anything else like stick out to you about it?
This is a kind of a bummer fact I just learned. Ed Westwick, her co-star in this film, in November 2017, allegations were separately made by 3 women. You can tell where the rest of that sentence goes.
Yeah. Oopsie. Well, that's
what a fucking wild casting choice. I just learned that was.
Yeah, I also learned that he's I think he played the like teenager that died at the beginning of Children of Men.
Yes.
Which feels great. Feels fantastic.
Louise Linton has basically only been, I thought she was in Cabin Fever, and because like she's and because she's like an older actress, I don't mean that as an insult. I just assumed that like, oh, she must have played that. She must have been in that movie when she was younger than like in her like 20s or something. No, she was in the Cabin Fever remake that came out like a couple years ago.
Oh yeah, God. Oh my God, I forgot about the fucking lesbian stuff that happens in Me You Madness too. That is also just completely like shoehorned in
and
like,
really like fetishizing.
Fetishizing and like devoid of any actual chemistry.
I will say, genuinely, unironically love the bit where every time there is a scene change, she has a costume change. Like, it doesn't matter, like, it doesn't matter how long the time is supposed to be between scene changes. If it is long enough that she has entered and exited a room, she will be wearing a different outfit. That is a hilarious bit. That is a great bit.
Yeah, I mean, like, I mean, like, every Vanity Project movie should be like that and should have that. That's like that's like a touch that people should learn from. That's like something that should be just default. If you're gonna make a movie that's like this sort of really jerk-offy character study that you like cast yourself in, why the fuck would you not like just have a closet of goofy costumes?
Why would you not use it as a justification to just show off a bunch of outfits you have or that you want to buy?
Yeah. Yeah, and this, I mean, like, it's a very specific rich person mentality of just, like, a lot of people don't make movies because they want to, like, say anything or because they want to, like, like, make a good movie necessarily, or, like, they think they're making a good movie. But what they actually want to do is just, like, have, they want to, like, wear a bunch of silly clothes, they want to do this, like, they want to do stunts, they want to have fun, they want to like party. It's like mostly about like partying. That's kind of the vibe that I got from this movie, which is definitely cocaine cinema for sure.
Sidebar, as I'm reading this, extremely funny that Louise Linton subtweeted her husband in support of Greta Thunberg, apparently. At
Hello? One point. Excuse me?
München was
That's
dismissive
so funny.
Of the 17-year-old Swedish climate activist at the World Economic Forum. He was asked, Greta Thunberg has called for a public and private sector investment from fossil fuel companies. Does this pose a threat to U.S. economic growth? And he goes, is she the chief economist or who is she? I'm confused. It's a joke. After she goes and studies economics in college, she can come back and explain that to us. And Louise Linton posted on her Instagram, I stand with Greta on this issue. I don't have a degree in economics either. We need to drastically reduce our use of fossil fuels. Keep up the fight at Greta Thunberg. Fucking classic bimbo move.
Oh, that is so. I sincerely love the like married couple subtweet fight.
Yeah,
it was beautiful when Neil Gaiman and Amanda Palmer did it.
It was beautiful when what's their name fucking. Twitter, their names were literally like Twitter's husband and Twitter's wife. Like they had matching Twitter screen names, and they did that.
Oh God, that's okay. Well, and then I don't know if this was that, but I remember the thing where it's like I wish you would have told me this instead of tweeting it. Tweeted from
from their accounts.
Yeah, from like the other room, basically.
This is the closest we will ever get, I think, to a big budget Naomi Elizabeth movie. And for that alone, it is art.
Oh God. Also, I love just a couple with like a very just filled out controversy section on both Wikipedia pages.
It's so funny. It's so good. It's such a like, this is a film that like, that just summarizes like art. It's a film that you could sew and just have a blast at, and also just be like, I feel absolutely no guilt hating the people who involved in making it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, they're despicable. They are just truly fucking awful people.
Because like when you laugh at like a shitty vanity project, usually there's a level of like, you know, like I don't want to beat up on fucking like James Nguyen, the guy who did Birdemic, because he's just like a guy. Like he's just a dude who wanted to make a movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna fucking beat up on on fucking Louise Linton and her husband. They suck. They have more money than I'll ever have. They don't understand the idea of not having money.
Yeah, God. One of the controversy things is like basically that she had like posed in like this Cruella de Vil outfit holding a sheet of dollar bills printed at the, like, you know, at the source of where dollar bills come from, which is so hacky and tasteless, but it's also like she should not be allowed to be allowed to get away with this. Camp is ours, it's not yours. I mean, like, I don't know, Trump camp is its own thing, and it's something that's gonna be it's going to get a lot of different reactions, and it's going to get a lot of different sort of post-mortem analyses.
It's a thing where, to me, it's like I look at that stuff and I'm like, you know what? Like that is sort of like what camp like not originated from, but that's the kind of shit that camp was always like a sort of like taking from. Because you can look at like, oh God, I'm blanking on her name. There was like that one, I think it was Ted Haggard's wife, who was like a camp icon. Or no, it wasn't Ted Haggard. Fuck. I'm blanking on her name offhand. But there was just like an old like evangelical, like in the days of like televangelicals, like there was like the wives of them were camp icons because they embodied camp. Because they were just they looked like exactly the kind of stuff that like is camp. Tammy Faye, that's it. Tammy Faye Baker.
Yeah, and that's kind of like the other aspect of it is like it's this thing, you know, it's this classic thing that always happens where it's like lobster is fed to prisoners and then it becomes you know, very like expensive fancy food, where like low culture kind of trickles up to become like high culture and gets like co-opted by, you know, the rich, etc. But it's one of those very fun situations where it's like these aesthetics are making fun of you.
Yeah.
And you are wearing them now.
As a sidebar, a positive note about Tammy Faye Baker is that she actually did become more openly during the AIDS epidemic, specifically supportive of the gay community in a very sort of reserved way. Or maybe not super reserved, but like maybe not actually, definitely not reserved for the 80s for like 80s Christianity. But I remember one of the things I had first learned about her was that she had talked about how like in her old age, like kind of like after she had left a lot of like televangelist culture, and when she got really sick, she has this quote, when we lost everything, it was the gay people that came to my rescue, and I will always love them for that. And so she had a very, in her, especially as her older years, she had a very mutually supportive and caring relationship with the gay community. So camp saves lives. I don't think that's going to happen to Louise Linton, but I just wanted to clarify that I was not saying fuck Tammy Faye, but it was definitely a thing where it's like, there's definitely a way in which a lot of camp aesthetics were taken from Louise Linton types, because those are the people oblivious enough to originate what camp becomes a parody of.
Yeah. Well, and who's to say? I mean, like, maybe she'll have an argument with, you know, she'll have another argument with her husband about Greta Thunberg, and then it'll be fucking over for her. She'll be on the street, and then the fags will just
she'll be on the street of her fucking, Wall Street, making money.
The streets of, fucking Edinburgh Castle or whatever. What would you rather have spent? So I actually rented this on YouTube because I'm an idiot.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I will openly say I did not rent it. I pirated it.
I'm actually like, I have this terrible fucking like run, and I need to kind of do something to kind of curb this, but I always end up paying for movies that are like new and or like objectively evil and terrible, and then I end up like using, you know, streaming services for like movies that are actually good and that I want to watch.
Yeah.
Case in point, like another movie that I did that with was Movie 43, which is like the worst $3 I've ever spent in my life. Just awful. But I would have rather spent my money on Eyeliner?
Yeah, okay.
Eyeliner pen.
If I had spent money on this, I don't know. I guess I would have rather spent my money on something else so that the money would not have gone to Louise Fenton. And then I could have spent that money on like pirating a copy of it that I could distribute at furry cons or something once they're back.
Redistributing it.
Literally redistributing Me Madness to the people.
That's the movies. That's the movies we watched. And so now, if you head on over to our Patreon, we're gonna be looking at a Robert Downey Jr. film of our patron's choice. And last month it was The Devils with special guest Mia Schwartz, which was a fantastic episode.
Yes, great episode.
As kind of a follow-up to our previous Bound episode as well. We have so many, oh my god, the Film Critters Vault it's right there on Patreon.
It's detonating.
And hear us talk about all sorts of films of bygone eras and different time periods.
We do also, as a sidebar, now have our podcasts on many other platforms besides just SoundCloud. So if you want to listen to just audio for these.
You could be listening to this
on Spotify.
From anywhere in the world. On Spotify, on
Apple, I think.
Apple.
From probably ones with names like Deezer FM or like Tune Up Radio. There's like 18 podcast platforms and they all have names like that.
Yeah. I mean, whatever. Fuck it. But yeah. We're all over those places. We're everywhere. We're closing in on you. We're going to.
We cannot be stopped. We are proliferating across the internet as we speak.
We're closing in on your location. You will be taken soon. Discord. Pop into our Discord. We talk about everything in the world that there is, but mostly movies.
Yeah. We stream as well.
Yeah, we're streamers. When do you stream?
I stream Mondays, Wednesdays, and occasionally Saturdays. When do you stream?
When do I stream? I stream Tuesdays at 7, except for today.
Yeah.
And Friday at 3 p.m. PST with my friend Rizzo, the Alley Cat. We actually started playing Her Story. And that is an insanely fun game to play with Rizzo because we were like, we're gossipy bitches. We were like screaming the whole way through because there's a lot of really good drops in that game. Come join us next week because we're going to be playing more of that and maybe also playing the follow-up. Who's to say? Thank you guys all
for joining
us. And we'll be back at some point soon with more processes and hopefully some other stuff that we're actually kind of working on. we're working on things. We've had a lot of setbacks with regard to video work. We've talked about this a little bit. Where we've had to like throw out 2 scripts because the script ideas were like huge bummers, and then the world became more and more of a bummer, and now we're just like, okay,
we need to figure out a different way. And then we traded mental disorders a couple times. We just kept trading off mood disorders.
Yeah, absolutely. It's I take the bipolar shifts, Jay takes the anxiety shifts, and it's a complicated thing, but that'll be to you at some point. Thanks again for sticking around. Thanks for joining. My name is Baru,
and I am Jay Bearhat. Bye.
Bye.